Hi, it's Gerhardt Blume here. So let me introduce myself. I'm a retired officer from the Canadian Armed Forces. In the Canadian military, I was badged as a military police officer and spent about half my working career working for the military intelligence branch. So as a military intelligence analyst, was sent to Washington D.C, London, England, Mexico City, and a number of other places. I worked in a counterintelligence role and was deployed 4 times to Afghanistan, twice to Kabul, twice to Kandahar. Now, before joining the military, I was pursuing a Ph.D. in philosophy. I finished a bachelor's degree in arts, master's degree in philosophy, and finished the coursework for a Ph.D. in philosophy. Didn't complete the program, and concurrently with completing the coursework for the Ph.D. in philosophy, I completed the coursework for sociology. There was some work being done in the sociology department, so I took a number of classes and could have qualified for the PhD in sociology.
So I left academia to pursue a career in the military. Then it became immediately apparent after several years actually, that there would be no academic chair at the end of it all. And it wasn't me. My grade standards were very, very high. Had a lot of support of tenured professors. It was just an economic
reality. So I joined the military. And since retiring from the military, I was walking around with a number of assumptions that turned out to be radically wrong. And I wasn't really aware of this social justice insanity until listening to a number of podcasts from Sam Harris. I'm a big fan of Sam Harris's work, read a number of his books, and he started speaking about this wokeness and the gender ideology and identity politics. And I believe it was Sam Harris who introduced me to Ben Shapiro. I'll let you know, CNN used to be the background music of my life. Background music of my life, CNN. And Sam Harris pointed out that we very often become stovepiped and we refuse to listen to voices, reasonable voices on the other side. Now, I know the voices on the other side, so I've heard them with the media, and in academia I was exposed to postmodernist theory. In fact, very intrigued by it. So I've read Derrida, Michel Foucault, Laclau and Mouffe, a bunch of names that are likely pretty obscure to most of you, but this is where this toxic ideology came from. So at any rate, Sam Harris mentioned Ben Shapiro as somebody on the other side, but who was a person of integrity and was worth listening to. I haven't gone back to CNN since. In fact, I think it was episode 2 listening to Ben Shapiro canceled CNN. And after becoming aware of this absolute toxic ideology, I started doing some research. Critical race theory, Black Lives Matter, this radical gender ideology. I thought, this can't possibly be true. Thousands of young women getting their breasts cut off, getting testosterone treatments under the delusion that they're actually men. I know from the critical literature, in fact, a chapter in this book on this radical gender ideology was written for graduate school in clinical psychology. So I looked at the data. Classic symptomology in gender dysphoria. Classic symptomology, person starts at the age of 4, doesn't align with their gender, right? 4 years old and skews strongly towards boys. Now what we have is thousands of young women with no history of gender dysphoria, the age of 13, 14, 15, what have you, suddenly waking up one morning and discovering they're boys. This is social contagion. And parents are being lied to. The medical community is abdicating its most basic responsibility, its most basic duty, which is to do no harm. The critical voices, the voices of reason, have been silenced and kicked out of their professions, and the other professionals are towing the line as radicals stand by as thousands of young women's bodies are being permanently disfigured. And lest you think that I don't understand what's happening here, this dynamics, I understand all too well. And if you'll check out the chapter in my book, you'll see the data is absolutely unambiguous. Social scientists have known for decades, young women are susceptible to social contagion in a manner that young men aren't. Right? Young women, if a young woman shows up at a junior high or high school, anorexic or bulimic, everybody knows overnight there's going to be a cluster of young women who are anorexic and bulimic or cutting, same phenomenon. This doesn't make men morally superior. Men have their own vices and fall into their own pathologies. Pornography is a great example. Women don't get addicted to pornography. Young men do. So as I started reading into this stuff, this critical race theory nonsense, the notion that the disparities between blacks and whites are the result of systemic racism doesn't hold up to critical scrutiny. And I've read serious black scholars, Thomas Sowell, Glenn Lowry, John McWhorter, a number of others, right? They looked at the data, the facts are there, the disparities in the black community. This is the result of pathologies within the inner city black community. Single parenthood, the valorization of gangster lifestyle, high rates of criminality, the denigration of school, and this is holding the black community back. So as I was reading these books, as is my practice, I go to a coffee shop each day, read, and I engaged in, over the last several years, literally countless conversations with people. And several of whom suggested I write a book, and I decided to do so, and I had some material available from the graduate studies work that I've been doing in clinical psychology, and I continue to research, continue to write, and I'm hoping you'll follow me along on this journey as I expose the absolute delusions. And why should you care? Maybe in your life, as it affects you, this cancerous ideology hasn't quite reached your doorstep. Well, this is changing. You might not care about this ideology, but this ideology cares for you, right? If you're a young woman going to a gym at night because you work irregular hours, you might just walk into a shower room, a woman's shower room, and there's a naked male prancing around with his junk out. This isn't safe for you. And this is happening. This is happening. Women are being sexually tyrannized in women's prisons. Now, yes, they're prisoners. They're prisoners of the state. They're wards of the state. Their serving time does not involve being preyed upon by rapists and violent male felons. In a number of states in the United States, all you need to do to get into a women's prison is solemnly declare that you're a woman. No history of gender dysphoria, no medical treatment, nothing. You just, gender dysphoric? Yeah. Really? Yeah. And then you're in. Off you go then. This is insane. In the office, all over the United States, Canada, people are being race shamed. White people are told that they're uniquely guilty for history's evils, and people of color are victimized and oppressed. Well, this is people with a very dim understanding of history. Genghis Khan from Asia swept through Asia and beyond, killed hundreds of thousands of people were slaughtered. The jihad, Muslim jihad, millions, over 100 million people slaughtered, sexually enslaved, tyrannized. Do you know about the slavery in China? Yes, China had slavery. Oh, wasn't it Christopher Columbus and the white man who brought slavery to North America or to the Americas? No. There was slavery, North America, Central America, and South America. And it was brutal and as repressive as you can imagine. So this ideology, you might not care about it, it cares about you, it's coming for you. Everything now is political. Years ago, there was the famous slogan, the personal is the political, meaning that every aspect of your life needs to become critically interrogated. By critically interrogated, they mean leftist ideology, poisoning whatever it is you're up to. Your sexual identity, your sexual proclivities, your race, your political views, the family. They want to break down the nuclear family. This is classic leftist ideology. Right? They want to replace the family with their poisonous ideology. It's no accident that every totalitarian regime has sought to replace the family with its ideology, its fundamental focus of allegiance. This is a cancerous ideology. You need to be aware of it because this shows no sign in stopping. And it's poisonous and it's coming for you. And I hope you'll check out my YouTube videos and my book. It's available on Amazon, Deconstructing Social Justice. This will fill you in on exactly what's happening and why. I go through the logic. The logic here is leftist ideology, poisonous leftist ideology married with postmodernism, post-structuralism, and this fusion is absolutely toxic. So check out my work and please let me know in some form or other how you're appreciating it. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.